to hit the button.
Got it.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Jennifer Smash from VIP Entrepreneur Academy. I have a special guest, Hillel Glazer from Heat Trak LLC. Hello, Hillel.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking this opportunity, this time to speak to my entrepreneur students in class. You are an owner of Heat Trak, which is a manufacturing company that have heated mats. I know this is your season. It's actually snowing up north, so I know you're selling them off your shelves.
We're pretty busy right now. You're correct. And I'm sorry that I'm driving into the sun, which is why I'm wearing these glasses. Soon I'm going to be turning corners.
No problem. So let me start. So Hillel, can you tell me what inspired you to start Heat Trak?
What inspired me? Well, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. So I always wanted to work for myself. That's the first thing. I've also always been a products person, thinking of products to make, products to improve people's lives. It's always kind of been something I've liked to do. And I had this idea many years ago when I was a teenager, and let it just sit to the side for many years. And about 3 years or so after college, I decided that I wanted to start my own business. And I remembered this idea. I was living in New Jersey where it snows a lot. And I was out shoveling one morning and I said, you know what, whatever happened to that idea about a mat that melts the snow? And I spent a couple weeks researching maybe how to build this thing, and made a prototype, and it worked most of the time. And then tweaked it further and decided to start a company. So
that's great. I love that concept. So knowing what you know now, how would you have changed in the beginning when you started?
You know, I think there are a few lessons I learned starting this thing when I was 25 years old that maybe I would have done differently if I was older and wiser.
Well, you're only 27?
Now I'm 25 and a half.
All right. Uh-huh.
How old is Heat Trak? I think 17 years. Maybe?
I think it's 17 years. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, two things. I think it's very important when you start a company to make sure you have enough money to operate the company. Okay. You don't want to always be in a position where you're scrambling to find money and to fundraise and find investors. Number one, it's just distracting. It takes a lot of time, and it takes away from what you can be doing to really grow the business. And I was very naive. Number one, I was naive in thinking how much money would be required to start a company. So I completely underestimated that. Number two, I deliberately didn't want to raise more money than I thought we needed, because, you know, you're thinking as an owner and an entrepreneur, you don't want to give away too much of the business to investors. You want to keep as much for yourself. Mm-hmm. Well, I think in hindsight, I probably should have raised a lot more money as soon as possible, so I didn't have to take the time and energy to bootstrap. It's very hard to bootstrap a business. I bootstrapped this business, and it was very, very difficult. Mm-hmm. We were fortunate. We got through it somehow. But I think if we were well capitalized from day one, we would be in a different position right now. I'd be hanging out with Mark Zuckerberg, you know, of Facebook fame on his private island. That's number one. Number two, the other lesson I would say in hindsight I learned was that you really need to invest early on in the right employees, the right people to help you. And you have to understand that running a business is about your team. It's not about you. Jennifer, you've been in my office, so I know you know I have on my wall, it says, one of my favorite quotes, it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So I learned later than I should have that it's really about your team, and you want to make sure you got the right people around you to help you on the journey. Don't think you can do it all by yourself.
Absolutely. Those are two elements that I do express in this course to everybody. The team is important, and knowing your capital needs, your startup costs, especially those who want to start a business. Make sure you cover all those expenses and then some. Great. So what was your number one challenge, if you had, besides, I guess, money, right?
Money was a big challenge, right?
Yeah.
Money was a big challenge. Number two, I didn't have the right people around me, so that was a big challenge. Number three, I was starting a young family at the time. My daughter was born. My first child was born right around the time that I was starting this company. So, you know, family is a consideration too. You know, not, you know, I am personally someone that likes to balance work and life. And, you know, how do you do that? I have a friend who was an entrepreneur who had no children and was not married. And guess what? His business took off overnight because he devoted 24 hours of the day to his business. Well, I couldn't do that, and I didn't want to do that. So anyway, so that's a challenge, but it's certainly something that one can work around. And then the other challenge was that this was an unproven product. No one had made a portable mat that melts snow before. So there was the development of this, right? I wasn't able to copy somebody and say, hey, they're doing that, let me do that too. I was innovating the whole time, and I had to keep innovating, and I had to mats innovate and work properly. And so that was a challenge too. We finally got it, but it was a challenge.
Wonderful. Okay, here is my last question. During COVID, how did you survive?
Uh-oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Oh, Jen, now I hear you. I'm sorry. Can you ask the question again?
Yes, during COVID, how did you survive?
By wearing masks. No, seriously. COVID was a challenge. I'm just going to pull over here so I can. COVID was a challenge. We got through it because we had a good team that was committed to getting through it. We had to be very careful in terms of our social distancing and mask wearing and keeping things clean. We fortunately were not in an industry that was affected by COVID. You know, we were not in the hospitality business, so we were not in the restaurant business. We have a product that wasn't affected by the initial, you know, initially people didn't think they were going to have salaries and they didn't think they're going to have money, and they were concerned about whether to be business. We actually never experienced that. So we were just very fortunate. And we got through it by just being careful. We didn't shut down the factory. And thankfully we're still here on the other side.
Wonderful. Well,
I think we froze again.
Yeah, we did freeze a little bit, but we were able to hear what you had to say. So to wrap it up, I want, if there's any additional advice you would like to give to a manufacturing entrepreneur before we close, would be what?
Entrepreneurs looking to go into manufacturing, I would say, number one, make sure you have the right capital behind you so that you can operate your business properly. You want to make sure you have the right team around you. You always want to take your employees' safety into account, especially if you're in manufacturing. Don't take shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts. Safety first, always. And it's always a good investment to invest in safety protocols. And just have a good time. just have a good time, and go home and tell your kids about everything that you're doing at work. They're going to think that you're Superman. It's a lot of fun. I'm a big deal in my house.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't even talk about financials and keeping in line. And I know you kind of made sure when we were going over financials, these percentages on certain line items were very important to you. I know that the knowledge of knowing where you are financially in your financial statements is important for future products, future to make certain decisions. We kind of went through that on a weekly basis.
No, you're correct. And I didn't mention it because I just took it for granted that, we would do that so often, and that was your skill set as well. But certainly you have to have someone who is keeping on top of your books, and you have to understand the books yourself so you could understand where you're going. I mean, your books are your roadmap.
Yes.
Are you making money? Are you losing money? They turn into your projections. They just help you plan.
Right.
That's critical. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Thanks for bringing that up.
No problem. Well, thank you, Hillel Glazer, Heat Trak LLC, here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much. Get home safe. Don't crash now.
I'm good. No, I'm in traffic, so I'm not moving fast right now.
Oh.
So.
All right. Tell the family I said hello.
Will do. Regards to Miles and the kids. Good to see y'all.
Bye.